In our last lesson, we added some questions to BaasBox in JSON format, and in this lesson, we're going to add a question model to retrieve that data. So let's go ahead and hit Command N to create a new file. It's also going to be a Cocoa Touch class, but instead of inheriting from UI View Controller, it's going to inherit from BAA Object. And so we're going to call our class Question, since it models a question. We'll hit Next and Create. So notice we have a question, BA object. I'm going to go ahead and just focus on this one for right now. And so a question has various properties. It has the actual question, which is a string. And that'd be like the question text itself. It has answers, which is going to be an array of type string. And it's going to have a correct answer index, which will be an integer. And you'll notice I'm getting some sort of error, which probably means I need to do an initializer, which I do. So let's go ahead and set that up. So let's do override init. And because it's a subclass of the BAA object, the initializer takes a dictionary. And remember that a JSON data is essentially just a dictionary. It's key value pairs. And the dictionary is going to be of type NS, a dictionary of NS object. Whoops. Put that back. And any object. Okay, so the dictionary is going to be keys could be any object and the values could be any object. Okay. So then we're going to let the question equal whatever dictionary, oops, not capital G dictionary, question as string. So remember when we created our BaasBox question, I had this key question and it had different values. Each different object had question, correct answer index, and answers. And they're going to correspond to each of these properties. So when I say self.question, I'm getting this information back from the BaasBox object. So then I'm going to do self.correct answer index equals dictionary correct answer index as an integer. And then finally self.answers equals dictionary, and that's the key answers, as an array of strings. So I'm still getting an error here, and that's because I have to call my superclass initializer, and I'm going to initialize it with this dictionary I just created. Okay, so when I retrieve information from BaasBox, it's coming back as a dictionary, and I'm going to initialize the object with this dictionary. Notice I'm getting the information back as a question, the correct answer index, and the answers. I have one last method to add to this, and that's to tell BaasBox which collection I'm using. So there's a built-in method for that, so I'm going to override function collection name. It's going to return a string, and so I'm going to return document, and it was du quiz. Oops. Du quiz. Let me just double check that to make sure that I've got that right. Du quiz, good. So you need this method to tell BaasBox where should it look for this question information, this specific JSON data. Now, obviously, when you do this for your application, you might not call yours this. You would call it something else. Make sure to use that name rather than this name. Okay, so now that we have our question model set up, we are finally ready to write code to retrieve that information from BaasBox, and we'll do that next.